Hey guys, welcome back to the show. And on this episode, I'm going to be talking about a movie from 1965. That's right, the 60s. A time of drugs and free love, apparently. Now you might be thinking, wow, that sounds really cool. I'd like to take a break from 2020 and go back to that for a bit, right? But here's the thing. There was still a lot of stuff that people had to worry about. Dangerous things. I'm talking, of course, about jellyfish. Sure, in 1969 they put a man on the moon, but they still failed to solve a problem that has plagued us ever since the dawn of man, really. The jellyfish problem. Actually, the funny thing is, I went to Australia a few years ago, and before I left, I made the mistake of watching this documentary on the Irukandji jellyfish, and that just scared the crap out of me. This thing is so small, it's almost invisible, and the sting can either kill you or just leave you writhing in agony for days on end. So of course my anxiety was just like, well, great going, Mark, you're gonna die. You're gonna go over there, you're gonna die. Nice vacation. But instead, it turned out to be one of the most amazing places I've ever been to. And the only thing that really happened to me over there was got some salt water on my eyes. I kind of stung. That's pretty much it. But getting back to the problem at hand, jellyfish. And not just jellyfish, but the people that keep them, breed them, and maybe even love them. If you're confused, don't worry, because you'll know exactly what I'm talking about by the time you reach the end of this video, which is on Sting of Death. The movie starts abruptly with this disgusting hand picking up a screwdriver and using it to short out some electronics. And you can tell that's what's happening because of this clever graphic being thrown at you. It actually reminds me of this movie from the 70s called Earthquake. So at one point in the movie, there's these people and they're in an elevator and the elevator plummets to the ground. And just to show that everybody got killed in the elevator, the movie just throws this graphic up on the screen. I love that. It's just like the movie's like, blood! So now we have this young lady doing some sunbathing on the dock. But here comes the person wearing the filthy scuba suit. And just look at them, covered in filth, stumbling around with these disgusting beads as if it's the morning after Mardi Gras. She's just trying to enjoy herself, putting on some sunscreen when, oh God, no! Well, this is just a terrible tragedy. Because you're supposed to wait 15 minutes after applying sunscreen before going into the water. You gotta let it soak in. I can't stress that enough, people. You gotta let it soak in. And now, because of this lunatic, it's probably gonna wash off, putting her at risk of getting a sunburn, which can then lead to a whole laundry list of health problems, such as dry skin, itching, wrinkles, skin cancer, and that's all I got written down on here. I wanted to make this really long so that it'd be really dramatic, but that's all I got. These aren't even real glasses. So there's nothing actually in here. Anyways, suddenly the mysterious swimmer pulls her under, and that's the end of her. Just like in Jaws, which I'd like to point out came out 10 years after this movie and did a better job at pretty much everything. So now we have Karen Richardson and her friends visiting Dr. Richardson, that's her dad, on this island where he studies marine biology. Now you'll probably notice this black mark on his forehead, and you're probably going to assume it's skin cancer. Maybe Dr. Richardson has been getting too much sun, but they actually have an explanation for it.
Dad, that's a nasty bump on your head.
It's very strange, Karen. Someone stole some of the equipment out of the lab. And while I was looking for it, an amplifier fell out of one of the cabinets and hit me on the forehead.
I think what happened here is the actor, banged his head or got a bump or something like that, and they just had to write in an explanation into the script because otherwise it would just be really distracting. Anyways, they start talking about Ruth, who was the girl out on the dock at the beginning of the movie, when John, the other doctor working with Dr. Richardson, shows up.
Your bags are up in Kara's room, girls. Hey, where's Ruth? She'll miss all the fun.
We were just wondering, what fun are you talking about?
Well, we've invited some people to come over this afternoon, a kind of impromptu welcome party for you and your friends.
So then Egon shows up, and he's so quiet that he ends up startling some of the girls.
Girls, Egon is one of the best swimmers I've ever seen.
Oh, you're cute. Would you be my date for the party?
Louise, be kind. He's a friend of mine.
Egon is a very good worker, Louise. I don't know what I'd do without him.
Oh, I didn't mean any harm. He just
Let's
scared
just
me.
drop it, Louise.
So then Bob the sheriff shows up and is like, hey, look at this dead body we found. Do you think it's possible these are jellyfish stings? And Egon is like, yup, but Dr. Richardson says no. It's not possible for them to get that big. And Egon is like, yes, they can get that big.
I tried to tell you it is possible, Doctor, for them to get that big.
Now, Egon. What's this nut talking about, Doc? I never can understand him.
It's nothing, Bob.
Hey, how about instead of just shutting Egon down, you at least entertain the idea that it might be possible these are jellyfish stings? Either that or come up with another explanation. How about that? But you can't, because you don't have another explanation, do you, Mr. Marine Biologist?
We've tried to raise them in captivity, but they begin to die within an hour or so. Egon thinks you can breed them like cattle. You know Egon.
Yeah, I also know that Egon is standing right there. You're just gonna talk about him as if he's not 5 feet away from you? See, now this is the type of treatment that could lead somebody to go mad. You know? Get really crazy and create some kind of a, I don't know, machine to turn them into some kind of half man, half jellyfish type creature. Or something like that. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. So now it's party time. Dr. Richardson invited a bunch of students over to have a good time with Karen and her friends. But holy crap, these people are already way too drunk and they haven't even docked the boat yet. See, now that's where I draw the line. Right there. You want to dance, you want to party, you want to have a good time, fall off boats, fine, whatever. But who's going to clean that up? That bottle could be returned for a refund. So I guess we're just going to go ahead and act like that didn't happen. We're just going to party it up on the dock. And I understand it was a different time. And in retrospect, you know, all dances kind of look ridiculous. But I do appreciate just how simplistic some of these dances are. Especially this one, you know, the monkey. Like, at some point, somebody thought, wow, this is really creative and original. So then they spot Egon and decide, hey, he looks slightly different than us. Let's gang up on him and, I don't know exactly, form a circle around him and laugh. Which seems pretty childish, but then, again, we don't know how old these people are. People looked a lot older back then, you know. They could all be 12 years old for all we know. Which might sound crazy, but remember, this is the 60s. Back then, people had to grow up faster, you know? It's probably like get a job at, 13, buy a house at 14, start a family at 15, and by, 17, 18, you're off to whatever war was going on at the time. Also, I have to mention, the movie did a really good job at vilifying these people because these are some of the most punchable faces I've ever seen. So Egon takes off in his fan boat while the others celebrate their achievement of making someone feel even worse about themselves.
Without going into a big deal, I want to apologize. I'm really sorry about the incident with Egon.
Oh, forget it. I know they mean well. It's just that they don't consider his feelings.
Just curious, how did they mean well? You know, just looking back at this, I'm going to be honest, I don't think they meant well. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say I think they meant to hurt his feelings. Yeah, I'll go there. You know, I'm not afraid to admit, when I was a kid in school, I got picked on a lot because, kids are dicks. But sometimes those kids would get caught. And honestly, I don't ever remember any of them ever saying to the teacher, well, I meant well. And it looks like the dirty diver is back, going into the swimming pool. A giant black mass swimming around in the clear water that no one seems to notice, probably because they're all too busy dancing to this brand new swinging single called Do the Jellyfish.
It isn't funky or anything is junky. It's something sweller, the chilla jalla jellyfish. Hey!
I'm actually curious if anybody got knocked out going to a dance party in the 60s, because all of these dances seem to be the perfect recipe for uppercuts and slaps and headbutts. So anyways, this sequence goes on a really long time, like with a lot of the movies I cover on this show. This musical sequence lasts the entire length of the song.
You'd better rest a minute and cool off.
Hey, that's a great idea. I think I'll cool off in the pool.
You'd better not, Louise. You're overheated.
What does that mean? Better go cool off in the pool. Oh no, wait, you're overheated. You're too hot. Better not go into the pool when you're that hot. Otherwise, you'll evaporate all the water, and all that will be left is a chlorine gas that will kill everyone in the vicinity. Anyways, Louise goes into the pool, and again, nobody, not even her, manages to see this person in a black diving suit in the pool with her. So this goes on for a really long time until this hand comes out of nowhere, grabs her in the face, pulls her under the water, and no one notices this until it's too late. Then, as John jumps in to rescue her, suddenly, I guess the mysterious swimmer comes out of the pool, and that's when everyone notices them. The swimmer touches this guy in the face, and I guess they're both suffering from horrible giant jellyfish stings to the face now, which I guess means that this person is some kind of giant jellyfish human monster with flippers. So all the students get into the boat and take this guy to the hospital, but the jellyfish man has other plans and an axe, which he uses to, I'm not exactly sure, I think cause a leak in the boat, but that seems to be the least of their problems.
Jellyfish!
There's more of them.
They're all over.
They're attacking!
Honestly, I thought those were just little bags of trash. Which would be kind of poetic, considering what happened when they got there. But anyways, I guess these out-of-focus plastic bags with balloons in them are now attacking everyone. But I have to say, you gotta give the filmmaker some credit here, because honestly, especially back then, I really don't know how else you would have done this. It's just unfortunate that in the end, it really does just look, it looks like floating garbage. As if everyone died in some kind of sandwich bag massacre. In all seriousness though, modern day visual effects, they could make this look better, but they could also make it look much worse, as we've seen before. So now the jellyfish monster fiddles with some knobs on some kind of machine, and oh my god, it's Egon! Totally didn't see that coming, especially since the last time we saw him, he was wearing the same wetsuit. So after dinner, Karen decides to go over to the window and look at the beautiful rocks. And somehow, I don't know, her and John have fallen in love. I guess they really got to know each other over the dancing and dying. Anyways, they all go on a very long trip through the Everglades to find Egon.
Egon? Egon, can you hear me?
Could he be over there?
That's all swamp and quicksand.
Okay, so when I was a kid, I had a fear of quicksand. And I don't think it was my fault, because for some reason, quicksand seemed to appear in a lot of cartoons. I even had a board game where the whole objective was to not die in quicksand. It was called Quicksand. So with all these things combined, I was certain that at some point in my life, I was gonna have to deal with quicksand. Probably on multiple occasions. And to this date, I have yet to see it in real life. Anyways, they go inside Egon's shack, but he's not there. So Donna goes out to get her cigarettes from the boat, but she gets distracted by some plants and birds. Little does she know that Egon, in full jellyfish form, is watching. And look, here he comes. Looks like Donna is done for, as she doesn't seem to notice him at all, not even out of her peripheral vision. Not until he's directly in front of her. See, now this is a good lesson as to why you should carry cigarettes on you at all times, everywhere you go. If Donna didn't leave her cigarettes on the boat, she'd probably still be alive today. Maybe. Probably not. Yeah, she'd be pretty old. Or she would have died from the side effects of smoking. So really, this is a lesson as to why you shouldn't smoke at all. You shouldn't start smoking. If you have started, don't stop smoking. Smoke all the time, everywhere you go. It's one of the two. Pick one of the extremes, people. I can't make these decisions for you. Anyways, the Everglades prove to be too difficult to navigate for Donna, and she becomes the latest victim of the jellyfish man monster. Which, quite honestly, I'm actually impressed that Egon was able to maintain this chase. Because just look at him. How do you even see out of that thing? So they all hear Donna scream and decide to go look for her, which could make them all potential victims of the jellyfish man. But don't worry, because by the looks of it, Dr. Richardson is packing heat. See, there's a gun right there. So they all go out searching for Donna, and even search underwater, where somehow Jessica fails to see the giant jellyfish monster right in front of her. Seriously, this has been a running theme throughout this whole movie. How do you not see this thing? So anyways, John and Dr. Richardson try to fix the broken radio while Egon looks after Karen.
I had to do it, Miss Karen. For us. They were no good.
Egon, why are you acting this way? Now just stay away.
I had to do it, Miss Karen. They were no good.
Egon, what are you saying?
Karen, for the love of God, are you deaf? They were no good. So when she finally realizes what Egon is saying, she faints and Egon kidnaps her, and what happens next is a long chase through the Everglades where Egon gets away and takes her to his, I don't know, underground lair. And this is where Egon has his bad guy moment where he reveals everything about how he ran electricity from the island underwater and into this cave and built a machine that combines salt water, electricity, human blood, and chemicals that he stole from the lab in order to create this massive jellyfish, and also turn himself into the giant jellyfish man monster. And here we go. You can tell he's transforming because of all the petroleum jelly on his face. That's the first step. And then there's even more of it, and then voila! Look at him now. Half man, half jelly, and half fish. It looks like it's all over for Karen, but wait. I don't know, he's gotta fiddle with some knobs first and go pet his jellyfish so that John has a chance to show up. Okay, now that John's here, we can start the fight. A guy with a flare versus a guy with a bag over his head. And this goes on for a while, not really doing anything, just kind of pacing around, which I don't really understand. I mean, if his hands can deliver, life-threatening jellyfish stings, why doesn't he just lunge at them? So here we go, the fight has started, and look, he's grabbed his arms, which I guess means he's probably stinging John to death right now. But luckily, because John is a marine biologist, he knows the weakness of all jellyfish. A good soft kick to the gut. But I guess it's only a temporary fix, so here we go again. But oh no, John has dropped the flare into the fish tank, which is somehow killing the jellyfish monster and lights the whole machine on fire. Okay, that was pretty anticlimactic. Now you're probably wondering what the takeaway from this is. Well, there's a few. First of all, respect all sea life. Don't litter. Don't bully people, especially those who work for marine biologists. And above all else, never engage in a sexual relationship with a jellyfish in an effort to try to create some kind of human jellyfish hybrid monster. Because I think that's really what was happening here. He totally banged that thing. I mean, look at this. This is very sensual. Obviously, this guy liked Karen, but he loved that jellyfish. And honestly, I don't really know what happened here. I'm not one to judge. Maybe the jellyfish loved him back. Maybe the jellyfish thought, okay, you know what, I'll try this for the summer. If the guy gets too clingy, I'll just ghost him. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The point I'm trying to make is that love makes people do crazy things. Like put on a wetsuit and then put a bag over their head and pretend to be a monster, or ramble on about stuff that doesn't make much sense because they don't have any good way to end a YouTube video. Now, this movie was directed by William Grefé, who directed a bunch of exploitation films in the 60s and 70s, and there's actually a collection of his movies that just came out on Blu-ray, and I'm totally excited to check that out because I know he's got more movies that I'm sure would be perfect for this show. But that's it for this one. As usual, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next time.